Hello again, welcome to today's video. My name is Stacey, I am a mess and address, and today we are kicking off the next readathon that I'm taking part in. This one is the Kindle Clearout Readathon, and I am ridiculously excited about this one because unlike previous readathons where I've had to go out and find new books that have met the criteria, the whole point of this readathon is that we're going to get rid of some of those books that have been on my Kindle for decades, who knows, and have remained unread, and we're going to try and get through as many of them as possible. Now this readathon is being hosted by a whole heap of fabulous booktuber, bookstagrammer, book community people, so I'm going to leave links to all of them below, so please go check them out on Instagram and follow them as well. And let's get started with the readathon. So as I said, the whole point of this readathon is to try and get through some of those books that have been sat on your Kindle unloved and unread for as long as you can remember, and we all have them, don't we? I mean, I've been really surprised at seeing the sheer number of books that some people have on their Kindle that are unread. It blows your mind. I have 131 unread books on my Kindle. Or at least, if not unread, they were read so long ago that I can't remember them. I have no idea what they're about, and I've never rated them, ranked them, or reviewed them, which I really need to sort that out and get them reviewed. So what I particularly like about this readathon is that their bingo board that, you know, a lot of them have with the prompts that you can tick off throughout the readathon is a build your own bingo board. And you can basically pick as many squares as you want, and you can pick which of the categories you want to include within that square. Now, I have decided to include them all, but I'm not necessarily going to obsess about whether or not I tick them all off. The reason for this is because, unlike the historical readathon, where I went out specifically finding books that match certain criteria, I'm using books that I already have that are on my Kindle, and to be honest with you, some of them I have no idea if they're going to meet any of these criteria. I don't know until I read them. So I've put all of the categories here, and we're just going to see where things take us. We're just going to go for it and read as many books on my Kindle as I can and see how many we happen to tick off. I have highlighted a few of the key ones that I do have books that I know about that I plan to read that will meet this criteria, so I'm just going to go through those now as my official TBR for the readathon, and then there will be many, many more besides. So first up, the category of oldest book on your TBR was a really, really difficult one for me. I've had Kindle Unlimited now for a few years. I've had Kindle in various forms for a number of years, and trying to figure out which one of these books has been on there the longest, I literally have no clue. But I did go all the way back to the very bottom of the list, and right down there was Schooled by Piper Lawson. Now, I'm pretty sure I have read this one before, but it was years ago. I can tell you nothing about this book at all. So I figured it was a really good one to go, okay, let's get it reread, let's get it reviewed, and let's be done with it. So that one is going to be in there, and that's meeting that criteria. Next up is the novella, and we all know I like killing two birds with one stone, and at the moment the Romance Book Squad are reading Sea of Ruin by Pam Godwin and its corresponding novella, which is King of Libertines. As that sat conveniently on my Kindle waiting to be read, I thought that would be the perfect one to tick off this particular box, and so that's the one that we're going to be reading for that. For the category of e-arc, I had a number that I could have picked from. I've recently got into NetGalley and have started to get on top of picking a few books that I've requested, getting the arcs, and then reviewing them before selecting a few more. And I've actually just got 2 arcs through, but the one I've decided that I'm going to read for this readathon is The House Swap by Jo Lovett. I know very little about this book apart from what was written on the back. I've not heard anybody else talking about it. I've not really heard much about it at all, but it is an e-arc and it is one that I'm quite looking forward to, and I do need to get it read and reviewed, so perfect opportunity. So next up is the only book on the list that I think at the moment takes off 2 of the criteria, and that is the most anticipated read that I haven't got round to yet, and a book by a person of colour, and that is Night Song by Beverly Jenkins. So I downloaded this back in December, January time, when I thought I was going to get through to reading it with the Historical Hellions book club, and it just didn't happen. I just didn't find time. I'd got so many books that I had to read, so many book clubs and read-alongs that I was part of. It just sat there on my Kindle unloved, and lacking in attention. So I thought we're going to put that right and we're going to get it read now. I've heard so much good stuff about this book. Everybody says how great it is. Everyone says how wonderful Beverly Jenkins is. I've never read anything by her before and I'm really looking forward to it. And this seems like a perfect opportunity to tick that one off the list and tick 2 books off at the same time. So the next category is my favourite author. And this is really hard because how do you pick a favourite author? I mean, favourite author of what? Depending on what book you're talking about, that could change daily. So I decided to go with one of my new favourite authors, someone that I've just got into and I'm really enjoying reading all of her books, and that is Lorraine Heath. I've been reading her, what is that book called? Sins for All Seasons series, and really, really enjoying it. And I have actually got the next book on my Kindle that's been sat there waiting for the appropriate moment, and that is A Scoundrel in Her Bed, and this is the appropriate moment. So that's going to be my favourite author, and I'm going to take that one off and get that one read at last. It's been there for a couple of months now. So another one of the categories that I'm really struggling to decide on is my favourite trope, because I don't know what my favourite trope is. I have a lot of tropes that I absolutely love, and I have a lot that I really don't, as I'm sure we all do. So one book that I've recently heard about from Christy Reads a Lot, is The Initiation by Nikki Sloan, I think it is. And this book is about an initiation ritual that I'm guessing is going to get a bit dark and a bit twisty, and I would have to say definitely one of my favourite tropes is dark, twisty rituals or initiations or clubs, that kind of thing, that kind of seedy underworld, secret society-esque stuff that gets very sexy, very dirty, and kind of tiptoes on that line of being a bit wrong, but we love it. So I don't know if this is going to take off the favourite trope book until I actually read it and I find out what the tropes are within it, but it's a high contender. I've got a couple of other ones, possible Beauty and the Beast retelling, captive things, that kind of thing. Those are my kind of jam. They are my favourite books to read. I don't know what that says about me, if I'm honest, but we'll just leave that one there. And so I'm kind of wavering on this one a bit, but I figure at some point in the next week I've got to read a book that's my favourite trope, surely, and I'll know it when I find it. So that's all the ones that I've actually kind of identified as ticking off criteria for so far. Some of the criteria in the boxes are things that are not book related, or at least not specifically to reading a book. So following all of the hosts on Instagram, writing a review, those kind of things that are going to be quite, hopefully, fingers crossed, easy to tick off. So I'm going to try and get those done tomorrow. And then I have got a number of other books on my Kindle that I've kind of set aside as I definitely want to get them read this week. I'm in that kind of mood. So there's Bait by Jade West, which I can't remember where this came from. This book just appeared from somewhere. I'm not quite sure where, and it's been kind of calling to me now for a couple of days. So that is going to get read. And then also I downloaded the Kimura Chronicles anthology. I think it's the first 3 books in the series by Cora Riley. They're kind of mafia-esque dark romances, which again, just love it. And I definitely want to get those read this week. I've been putting it off and putting it off and putting it off and saving them for this week. And so they're definitely going to get read too. But apart from that, who knows? Who knows where this week is going to take me? Where I know it's not going to take me is to any new books. I don't care how many books I see recommended, raved about, generally, gushed over on people's Instagrams this week. I am not allowed to buy any more books during March until this list goes down a bit, because we are getting into crazy towns at the moment of just how many books I've got to read. I need to take back control. So that is the plan for this week. So the readathon goes from today, which is the 13th of March, Saturday, and it runs all the way to next Friday, I believe, which is the 19th of March. So it's like 7 days. How many books can you read in 7 days? I do find I read faster on Kindle than I do in actual physical copy. So that hopefully will speed things up a little bit and help me get down. I'm hoping to get at least 10 off. My goal is to get down to 121 books on the to be read list. We'll see how we go, and I am going to do a little vlog again, hopefully, if life doesn't consistently get in the way as it has been doing for the last week. And I will see you very soon with a new video. Thank you very much as always. I hope you subscribe and follow me so you can catch up on my next videos, and I will see you again soon.